Alright, I just made this video, but then I was too fast getting to my first batch of the day. I'm delivering 16 bags of lemons to somewhere up by the Little Marina Green in northern San Francisco edge. But I want to update everybody on essentially what the pain is that I'm having. Yeah, nothing can ever be easy. Even if you think it's going to be, it's probably going to have complications. So I've been working on Atta's boat, putting this outboard motor on his sailboat, and we had to use a mount that would lift the outboard up out of the water, of course, because that's just how you do it. And in the process of that, when it's raised up, it's easy to access everything, but when it's lowered down, you can't reach the shifter, and you can just barely reach the tiller arm for the throttle, and you definitely have to like hang off the side of the boat to access the starter, which is an electric start. So the other flaw is to raise it up, you have to reach down there to grab the handle, and you have no leverage when you're hanging off the back of the boat to try to grab the thing to pull it up, or to keep the handle from locking itself. This is a Panther outboard mount. Pivots up and down pretty good distance. So to make it so that Atta will be able to raise the motor up, I need to have two separate setups going on. Guy in a BMW, of course he's got to be a dickhead, forces his way in front of 4 other cars in a zipper zone. We're all trying to fit into the same line, and he's not getting anywhere further. I'm going to be right next to him right here. Yep, right next to him right here. She knows she just did that to me, so I'm going to make sure she sits right here next to me. Not be able to get over. I think she wants to get over right now, and make sure the guy behind me in the Mercedes stays tight against me. Now she's forced to go further up the road, go where she wanted to. Yeah, well, anyway, that's how people drive here in San Francisco. You got to be, if you're going to be an asshole, then you're going to have to, take some of it back. But anyway, I'm not typically all that aggressive. If she'd have just allowed the zipper thing, where I go, she goes, I go, she goes, the guy in front of me would have had somebody come in between us, and instead she forced her way up and all the way around all 3 of them, forced the guy in front of me over into the far right lane, which was not a lane, it's the shoulder. Insane. So anyway, to be able to raise the thing up, I need a pulley that'll hold the handle back way down there, and then I put together a 4-to-1 block system for a main sheet on a small sailboat, to actually give him some leverage so that he can lift the engine up out of the water. Which it does raise up far enough that he can actually, get it completely out of the water without tipping it back, and that's great. The flaw is that because this is a brand new motor, it didn't have the locking pin for reverse installed. It was in the box. And it's old stock. It's a 9-year-old motor. It's just that it's never been used. It's new old stock. So once I installed that, it tipped the motor back to where it's going to fishtail water out, when it's at higher idles or higher throttle. And I don't really want it to do that. He'll lose power and won't get the acceleration, the thrust that we're aiming at. So I had to order another set of wedges that go between the outboard and the mount to try to pivot that in the way it's supposed to be. All of this is massive complication. You can't reach the tiller, you can't reach the shifter, you can't reach the key. I'm gonna have to extend the wires for the ignition switch so that he can start it from inside the boat, because he's going to need to be able to start it from in the boat while he's sailing. Can't be hanging off the back of the boat to reach down there and do it. You can't raise it up out of the water where it's not getting any cooling through the water, through the motor, or the pump's running dry either. So all of this has to be done. I think I've figured out a way that I can have a ball joint on the shifter to a rod that'll go up to the boat, and he can just push and pull the rod to actually, shift it in and out of gear. There's a tiller extension I've already got saved on Amazon that will shift, that will give him the ability to throttle up and down from inside the boat. So then it's just me extending the wires on the ignition key, the ignition switch, and running those up to where it's inside the boat so that he can stick the key in and start it from inside the boat. Once I've got all of this stuff put together and done, his boat's done, and I don't have to mess with it anymore. The lady that I've been lining up to do the sail, or to take care of Angel, says she doesn't want to take care of Angel forever. She originally said she wanted our birds, mine and hers, to mate, and now she's saying she doesn't want to do that. She'll watch the bird while I go to training, orientation, and my initial mentorship in somebody else's truck. But as soon as that's over, she wants me to take the bird back, or she said she'd try to find him another home. I'm really not into the idea of just passing him off from place to place to place to place to place. So I don't know how that's going to pan out either. It's a real pain. But I found a company I really like, and I'm really hoping they hire me. The company's name is Melton Truck Lines, and they only do flatbed. I have loaded flatbeds before. I've unloaded flatbeds before. I've loaded lowboys with tractors and heavy equipment before. I know how to do a ratchet strap or blocks, any of that kind of stuff. But they have a pretty extensive training on that, and it pays. So if I were lucky at night transportation in a box, I'm probably going to get 45 cents to the mile. They have 53-cent jobs, but that's refrigerated, and they don't have any refrigerated in California. So it would be 45 cents a mile. This company pays 60 cents a mile, and if you have to tarp the load, that's an extra $100. They have a really good benefits package. Their training is an 8-day training and orientation in Tulsa, Oklahoma. They'll fly me down there after my hair follicle test to prove that I haven't been smoking weed, which I wish I could, but I can't because of that. So I'll send my, I'll have to go to a drug testing place and have them cut some of my now very short hair for that, and they'll send it off, and the next day the results will come in. Then they'll get me a plane ticket to Tulsa, Oklahoma. At this point, the bird has to be with somebody, and it's going to probably be with her, with Darla. We've already been introducing the birds to each other, and they were starting to actually be, well, Angel was always curious about Lily. Her bird, Lily, was pretty freaked out by Angel. But she keeps getting more and more interested in them the more time we spend over there. So eventually they would bond, but she's decided she doesn't want them to bond. And so she would be keeping them separated from each other while I was off doing the orientation and training. And then I don't know what I'm going to do, because I don't know that he's going to be able to deal with it, and I don't know if Melton will be willing to let me have the bird. I can have the dog after my training and mentorship, but, how does that go? So the reviews from people who took jobs with this company, if they go out long haul and they work, they don't take a lot of home time, the reports are that they regularly make $2,000 a week. And that's way more than I was expecting. I was planning on $1,400 a week with night. I would much rather be at that $2,000 a week. That's fantastic. So I really want to go to Melton. I'm really hoping that they hire me. I finished the full application yesterday. My guess is it'll take them a couple of days to go over everything, and then, you know, I have to have my ducks in a row. I have to be ready to go when that time comes. And with Atta's boat and me having to pay rent in like a week, by the way, I think it's $800 during the training, so that first 8 days is $800. And then I think they give you $800 a week during the mentorship part. So I'll be making more than I'm making now during that month. At the end of that month, they issue me a truck, and then they send me back to my boat for a week. I have to go take a whole week off right after I get done with all of that. And then as soon as that week's up, I get my first actual load by myself in the truck. That week gives me time to move into the truck, get situated with everything in the truck, you know, load my food and refrigerator and all that kind of thing, and be ready to go. So I want to be pretty much ready to pack the truck once it's all over before I even leave to go to the orientation. I want to have, you know, my frozen food all made in the freezer, ready to load. I want to have, you know, I won't have my laundry done, but I can come over here, do all my laundry, pack up all my clothes, you know, load the dog in, load the bird in if they let me take the bird, and then hit the road. And I'll stay out for 3 months. At the end of that 3 months, I could have, you know, they're saying $5,000–6,000 a month, so I could have $18,000 after 3 months. That's enough for me to buy 2 trailers for my boat, so I can haul the boat, put it on a trailer that I buy if I can find one, move the boat up to Butte County, and then go out for another 3 months. And at the end of that 6 months, it'll start snowing, and I'll be accustomed to driving the truck already before I have to deal with it in the snow. I really hope that this can be worked out as fast as I possibly can get it to work out. But that's where we are. I really, really hope that Melton will hire me. I'm not worried about the drug test at all, of course. And I'm mostly worried about what I'm going to do with the bird if they won't let me take him. That's where we are. See ya.